back. Is that focusing? There it goes. Okay. It's coming back. There we go. Going to go round 2 now, because I've got time now to do some more Q&A. If you're on the first round, we've got some good questions, and I did promote there. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining in. If you are first time following me, please make sure you do hit the follow button on my profile. And while you're there, please post this, share it on what's the word? Twitter. That's it. And also invite your followers, because this is going to be an open forum for Q&A about love and relationships. I did one earlier and actually went off really well in a short space of time, because I only had 10 minutes. So there's more time now. If you want to ask questions about love and romance, something on your mind you want to share, or you want to get some input on, this is the forum for you. So I'm providing the space. My name is Barry Selby, for those who don't know me. My website is barryselby.com. I am the heartbreak repair specialist for my clients. I help mostly women, but I work with couples and singles, men too. I'm a #1 best-selling author, and I am passionate about helping you get what you want in love and romance, particularly in integrity and authenticity as core values of the work I do. There you are, you're back. So, open forum, questions for you. Please tap on the screen for hearts. I found out I'm very close to 100,000 hearts, which is like, yikes. So I think about 2,500 hearts away, which would be awesome. So come on down and tap on the screen, please. That gives hearts, it's 500 at a time. That'd be welcome. And any questions you have, please post them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Some I missed last time, so there might be some extra ones this time. But I'm here to answer your questions about love and romance. And if you want to go deeper, I have resources for you as well. So, what if you're in love? What do you do? What's the question about that? If you're in love, what do you do? I'd say enjoy it. That's my simple answer. Do you have a question that's beyond that one? Or if that's the question, that's the answer I give you. That was an easy one to start. So, yeah, last time was all about getting into that. Exactly. There we go. All right. One down. Let's see what else I got up there. So this is a forum for you. Now you can see how it can be confusing. Well, yes. Women read into things. Well, okay, let me get to women read into things, get back to the confusing one after that. So, women read into things. Some do. Not all do. Some do. A lot of women are looking for excuses to judge. Actually, let's back up. Men and women are often looking for excuses to judge. A man will criticize his partner, and this is not general, this is some selective people, so I'm being really clear about this. Some men are always looking for perfection. Right, so let me cover that in a second. Let me get to that one, because you are hitting the nail on the head. And Christy, there we go. I want to show you a name in my head again, Christy. There are individuals, men and women, who will look for critical ways to judge their partner so they can feel better about themselves or find a way out of the relationship. And that's a trait, that's a pattern, that's not all ways of doing it. Second, we have been raised by parents, peers, people around us when we were kids to believe loving comes through a certain way. And if you were raised in an environment, for example, where love you was the normal phrase, for the sense more slang versus saying I love you, it's in your vernacular. So we get into a relationship with somebody, you may not think that they might receive it the way you're giving it, and you think you're loving them perfectly by saying that, but they want to hear you say I love you versus love you. That's an educational thing, as in you can educate your partner to say what you want them to say so you know its value, because the other part is just a reflection on the book. There's a book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. Each of those love languages, thank you for that one solo heart on the screen. That was a few more, great. Keep tapping the screen, folks, I love the hearts. The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It is a great book. He basically talks about the different ways to receive love. So someone could say to you, well, apparently you have a different place to be. This is the wrong place for that conversation, so see ya, Blanche, no place here. If you are, interesting people showing up in scopes. If you are in one area of love language, for example, okay, if you're saying, okay, my mind came back to focus. 5 Love Languages, Gary Chapman. If you are someone who wants to hear words of affirmation as your way of knowing being loved, that's great. But if your partner shows love by touching you, as in their sense of love is the connection, the touch physically, they may not say they love you, but they're thinking they're telling you they love you by the way they touch you. You're sitting there waiting for them to tell you, and you never get the answer you want. So it's important to know your partner's love language, how you communicate love to each other, and one, either help them learn to teach them how to love you the way you want, or 2, learn to accept the way they're loving you as the right way, or both. You can have both of those. So the 5 love languages is a good basis. It's largely based on NLP, which I've studied as well. But Gary Chapman's book, 5 Love Languages, is a great resource to have to understand how you and your partner may not be communicating love the way you think. So it's often the way things. We often give love in the way we like to receive it. I would actually say we always give love the way we like to receive it, because we think that way. That's the channel we're raised in, to love and receive love. That's the way it works. So it's not about variation. That's why it's education. Being in a relationship, you're learning about your partner, and some of those things are, how do you love them? How do they want to be loved? You know? You're welcome, Christy. I'm glad that helps. So again, open forum Q&A about love and relationships. I do welcome lots more hearts than this. This is weak. Tap on the screen. Give me some hearts, please. And also enter any questions you have. Type some questions into the comment section if you have questions about love and romance. That's what I'm here for a little bit of time. I've got time. Let's get super real. Yes, that's absolutely what I'm talking about. Authenticity is about being real, connected, authentic, passionate. So that's what I'm about. And if you're finding these are valuable to you, questions, just a little plug again. That's better temper. Okay, that wasn't a question, so I'll come back to that. And Chris, you can ask me more about that one. And your family room, what are practical ways to manage expectations? Depends what they are. If they are, Gail, you are Gail. If they are unrealistic, then you have some challenges. If your expectations are low, you may be also overwhelmed because you're going to get more than you expected. So expectations are, okay, that makes sense. So Christy, back to you for Huge Temper. When he's hurt, he name calls a factory assassination. Okay. That I would suspect, I don't know for certain because I don't know him and I don't know you that well, but I suspect that comes from his history. Well, I believe firmly for him. Now, whether he may have gone through some traumatic events, a PTSD type event, whether it was physical, emotional, or even if he went to fight or something like that, but it's likely it comes from his childhood, upbringing, from where he was raised, that he was validated one way and punished another way. And so when you say certain things, you're tapping into that younger self that he's not able to not able to manage and respond from. He reacts quickly, like a firecracker, like goes right off. And unfortunately, until he makes peace with that history, there's no way of solving it. It really comes back to the inner work to heal that history, so you're not carrying around those 7-year age or the 5-year-old beliefs about how you should respond that override your conscious thought. That's what's happening for him, I believe. So, does that help you a little bit? Absolutely we are. In my book and in my work I talk about that. The healing of your memory and your history is vital, so you don't carry that into your next relationship and basically override your adult conscious choices with childhood beliefs. So absolutely, it is an absolutely critical part. As I say, it's like you imagine you're in a car going from like LA to San Francisco, but you give your 5-year-old the keys to the car, you're not going to get where you want to go. And that's our subconscious mind, that all that programming went into from age 0 to about 8, 9, or 10 years old. That's a sponge taking everything around you as the truth. So however your parents acted, responded, did things, and it's not what they said, it's how they acted, is what you take on as being the way love works and the way relationships work. So if they didn't do things the way you now as an adult think it should be, until you've made peace with that younger part inside, you're going to keep repeating the patterns anyway. It's a trap that we fall into, and it's not fatal, but it can definitely mess up your relationship. So it's key to have an awareness of that. Can a relationship recover from an affair? That depends. Can a relationship recover from an affair? I would say yes, and I've seen couples that didn't work, couples that did work, because the big thing is trust. For most people going into a relationship, they have a unconscious or even conscious intention that one of their deal breakers is not monogamy. So if your partner breaks that rule, they're out, and that's the way it is. For some people, it's more of a different understanding. But if the affair is purely physical, it's different from one that's more emotional. So that's why there's lots of layers to this. But for most people, a simple affair can be fatal to the relationship. If you're a lifelong relationship that's been going on for a long time, if the affair's been going for a long time, then you really lack trust. You've lost trust because it's been broken without you even knowing it, because it went behind your back. So that doesn't have an easy answer, I'm afraid. It's really up to you to decide what you value. And if he's not able to match that, then you've got to make a choice for yourself. It's not saying right or wrong, it's just you've got to choose for yourself what you value as important. As I call it, the deal breakers and the must-haves. They're two different things. So you have a list of deal breakers that you cannot have in a relationship, and the must-haves that you must have in a relationship. Those two chapters in my book, by the way. That's what I showed in my book earlier. 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. That's on Amazon, Kindle, physical book. And also I have the PDF on my site if you want the ebook version. And if you go to 50waystoloveyoulover.com. Best friend's husband cheated, she stays with him, but she's still hurting and he hears it daily. That's punitive. If she's not willing to heal or work with him until they both heal, they're doomed to suffer. There's no other choice. Because she's using it as a lever against him, basically as a baseball bat. She's beating him up with something he did and she won't forgive him. That's going to basically destroy their love. It's going to make her system toxic, and it's going to basically harden her heart so she won't be able to love him anymore. Because she's not willing to forgive. And he's not growing beyond it. So maybe for them it should be an end the relationship. Again, I can't promise I don't know them that well. But that's a big stuff. Well, that's the thing. Some people like to be more attached to being right, and this is one of the teachings. Are you willing to be right or loving? Are you willing to be happy or right? Sorry, are you willing to be right or happy? Are you willing to be right or loving? It's a choice. If she's more attached to being right than loving, that's the result she's getting, and that's all there is to it. She could choose differently if she wants, but she has to choose it. So that's the answer I basically can provide for you. So thanks for joining me. If you're just joining into the scope, this is an open platform for. Am I married? Not at the moment. Do I have kids? No, I don't. I've been in a relationship with women who have kids, and it's been wonderful. But I haven't had kids of my own. I probably won't at this point. I might adopt, but I'm here for my partnerships. So yeah, that's that one. So those just joining, recapping. Those are just joining me. This is an open forum Q&A about love and relationships. So post your questions, I'll answer them. Please tap the screen for hearts. I'm really pushing this up to break another tier of heart reception. I'll say that. My name is Barry Selby. I'm the heartbreak repair specialist, and I work with singles primarily, with women. What advice do I give blended families with children? What advice do they need? If their love is there, and love is the key, and there's love for all the family, then it all works. So I don't have advice for them as much as if you can love each other and love yourself in that relationship, then you're good to go. If there's other things that don't work, well, that's part of that is winning over them, and not like convincing them, but to demonstrate to them that you're a friend. And it's the biggest thing I recommend about when you come as stepchildren, and integration that way, is being their friend, not try to be their parent. Because they're not your children, yet. They may fall into that at some point, but depending on their age range, of course, if they're younger or older, it's about making their friendship and being the friend to them who can be their advisor and their counsel. If you bring that to them and they trust you, that's as good as gold. So that's what I'd say. Again, so first time joining me, please invite your followers, please post on Twitter, tap the screen for hearts, which I do welcome, appreciate the hearts coming in. Also, if you're finding value from this, and if you want to go further, I have 2 links in my profile in Periscope. One is the top one, which is the consult link, which is to directly book a session with me for a conversation, discovery session that's complimentary. And below that is another link, which is my tip jar, as I call it, which basically is my PayPal donation button. You click on that if you want to just throw some cash my way, which I'm totally welcome to receive. Open to receive. Can I do that for couples? You mean coaching? Yeah, I do. One of the couples I worked with actually was having issues before they got engaged, and through my coaching they got married. So I do work with couples, but my primary focus is with single women. That's what I market to. However, anybody who wants to really do some work, wants to have transformation, I can work with both. And I work with both couples and men as well. And again, I am based in Los Angeles, so I do work by phone, in person if you're local, and even by Skype if it's international. So I'm available to support you in having what you want in a relationship. So yes. Any other questions, any other thoughts whilst we're here? I've got time still. And please, again, tap the screen for hearts. I'm looking to hit 100,000 hearts. I'm close to it, I know. I'm not sure how close I am now, but I was about 98-something thousand before I started the scope. So this is an experiment. You're thinking. Okay, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about something. That's okay. Oh, questions, yes. Duh, that's what I put out there. So again, please feel free to post any questions you have about love and romance you want help with, and I'll answer your questions for you. Anybody else? Watching and sitting here, see you here. Things you're confused with. Okay, well, Christy, we can talk. You have the floor. It seems there's not many other people posting questions, so you can ask your questions. I can wait for a few minutes if you wish to ponder and want to write something. Anybody else is on the call? Anybody else is on the line? My opinion on outside influence, for example. Can you clarify what you mean by that? Because I have opinions and a perspective, but if I have more information about what the outside influence is and what you mean by that, sort of exes or other parents or what's going on, if you give me your husband tells his friends and family things about our relationship, good things or bad things. If he's basically talking at it, first of all, if he's talking about things that are private and intimate, you need to educate him. Okay, so you two need to have a conversation. You have different values around privacy. So the choice is to come to an understanding. He's basically going to them for advice. Well, if they're his friends, they're going to probably lean towards his benefit, not yours. Yeah, well, this is not a straw poll for an election. This is a relationship question. So it might be something where he might want to reach. Hey, Katya, nice to you join me. That's Lunchpreneurs, by the way. By the way, this woman here in the blue, Katya, is the creator and the awesome powerhouse behind the Perry 10K, which is in my hashtag. Definitely want to follow her, and if you want to join the group that we're part of, the Perry 10K group, I'll get back to you in a minute, Christy. It's perry10k.com/join if you want to find out more about that. But Katya rocks. So Christy, your question about going to see his female co-workers. It may be an attempt to get more female understanding, but he'd be better off going to people who are not his friends and not people he's connected to. One, because it's anonymous, and two, because he should go for more expert type help, whether that's to me or anybody who's a coach, or books, or events where you can learn more about it. Hello, it's good to have you back again. That's what he says, that he's going to co-workers, he wants female understanding. That's good. I mean, the intention is right. However, the methodology isn't working. So I would advise him, if he's looking for that sort of help, to go see a counselor or therapist that will help him with. A female one might be helpful. To be honest, Christy, you should probably ask him that, because he may want to understand you better, and he doesn't have enough background understanding about women, so he's worried that he's getting inaccurate information, which is a trust issue. Back to the trust issue again. So I would recommend he seeks the help from someone professional who's got confidentiality agreements and who doesn't know him, so that he can get support and understanding without being biased by friendships or other things in the way. All right? Thank you for the hearts. I love the heart. They're rocking. Awesome. Does that help you, Christy? Because I'm trying to give you some input without getting too enmeshed in it, because it sounds like if this guy's back into other things, there's some other stuff. That was hearts, I know. You missed a T there. No? Okay, so what else? So you disagree? Okay. Feel free. I mean, this is an open table, so I'm not saying I'm right on everything. By any means, I'm not that. How do you join Perry 10K? You go to perry10k.com/join. It's a link. That's okay. I did mention that earlier. That's because when Katya showed up, I wanted to make sure you knew about it. So perry10k.com/Katya. She is the, perry10k.com/join. There it is, right there. /Katya, right. Yeah, she's the boss of this and rocks it. So thanks for joining, folks. You feel it opens the door for emotional affairs. That's the thing. Especially because he's talking to friends and people he knows at work. If he goes to see a professional, then he won't have that, because she won't provide that. You should have that from Katya. So Christy, I would say that he should see professional counsel, because that takes away the emotional affair and anything else that might show up. And if it's something where both of you are having issues, you go together. Whether it's me or somebody else local to you or some other person you trust, the two of you, I recommend, go see somebody so you can get some of these things out in the open with a neutral observer who can give you clear feedback they can both benefit from. Because you're both biased. He's in his mind, you're in your mind, so your feedback's going to be not necessarily neutral. So for you to have a shift. So even if people mean well in the moment and give sincere advice, that plants a seed in their mind. Yes, exactly. And that's one of the things. You want to have an absolutely clear communication path between you and him. And that's why it's good to sometimes have that neutral observer in the middle, that person who can be the reflector to give you clear feedback if you're on track or off track with your communication, so that you two can actually get understanding. Because you want that for each other, I trust. You want to have the relationship work, so then you'll do the steps to make it work best. That's why I do what I do. Can be, depends. If he doesn't trust a male therapist, which I understand men don't often do, if you trust a female therapist, then it might be better. If you feel okay working with a man, work with a man. It's a choice about what do you both trust for a safe space. Well, that discredits his mass volume opponent. I understand that, and it's not making you trust him more, is it? So if you're not trusting him, whatever he's doing isn't helping. So I recommend highly that you seek outside counsel for both of you together, so you can come back on the same page, so you can get clear, or you separate. I'm not saying it should be either one, but so you get clear. Because right now you're doing this amateur help from the co-workers, and you're getting personalized advice that's not neutral. So it's not helping you either way. And so, can you move in? Can you move in for a few months? What part of the country are you in, or the world? And secondly, a month? No, I've got other things to do. But I might be open to a VIP day with you, which could be worked out. San Antonio, Texas. Oh, Texas. Okay, I'm in California. We can work out a VIP day if you want to throw the cash that way. I'm joking, but not joking, because some of my peers in the work do a one-day on-site coaching with clients to see how they are and where they are and everything else. So I'd be open to that, definitely. But a month, no, sorry. But one day, a full VIP day, yeah, that'd be worked out. So go to the consult page that's in the link on my profile, and send me a message and we can talk. I mean, we can discuss something that could work. I'm fairly mobile. I could fly to Antonio for the right fees. So, and frankly, LA is so stifling hot, I don't think Texas is going to be much worse. Not this time of year. So, any other questions whilst we're here? Because, you're getting all the attention, but the other people on here, if you have any questions about love and romance and relationships, please post them, and thanks for all the screens and all the hearts. I'm getting ever closer to that 100,000 heart mark, which is a milestone I didn't expect to happen, but I'm very happy it's coming soon. If not today, then tomorrow. So it's good. You're very welcome. This is my joy, and what I'm loving, actually, this whole thing, because I didn't have anything to talk about today. So it's perfect to say, you know what, I'm just going to keep it open. I'll just do Q&A. And this is the second round. I did one round earlier, and that was lively. So this is also useful to share and to give you live support, and also for those watching to just know how I work. You made me? How do you mean that? Want to clarify that one? I'm wondering what you mean by that, Christy. But again, thank you for following, by the way, and following me. Oh, you begged me. Well, you know what? I don't mind. I absolutely, that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it just for you, sorry. But I'm loving to do this. Waiting for your long, last true love. Yes. Well, I just want to say that, that for that one, I have a program for you. Just to market this into that thing. So, if you look at my website, there's a thing called the Dating Advantage. It's an 8-week program for single women that will take them step by step where they want to go. So if you're looking to do that, rather than waiting, if you want to be proactive to create the space and attract what you really want, I designed that program for you. It's on my website. It's called the Dating Advantage, and it's an 8-week online program. It's relatively economical. Does it come with a man? I'm not a matchmaker, and I'm not a delivery service. But my program does give you a lot of steps. That's cute. But I want to say, basically, that program will help you, because what it does, it helps you create a vision, but more importantly, it creates a feeling. If you did it that quickly, you need to rethink your values, because that was way too easy. So the 8-week program is basically online. You get weekly practices come through. And if you sign up for it, I'll gift you a free coaching call as well as a gift. But let me just say, again, that 8-week program rocks. It's basically a distillation of much of my stuff into 8 weeks. It takes you step by step through creating a vision and then embodying the vision. Thank you. Embodying the vision so you know what you really want, and what you do is you become a magnet to attract it. So the program doesn't come with a man, but I'm pretty sure it will attract one very quickly. So if you're ready for that, I will check it out. So that's for the single ladies looking for attracting the relationship they want. This is a fast track program that will do it for you, with you, not for you, with you, called the Dating Advantage on my website. So barryselby.com. And in the top navigation bar, you can find the Dating Advantage. So that answers your question. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas, stuff you want to put on the table regarding love and relationships, that this is a safe forum to do it in? And keep tapping the screen, please. I'm looking for the hearts. And by the way, if you get to 500 hearts, it doesn't count after that with a Y. There's a Y missing from there. So it's barryselby.com. Same as my personal profile. Thanks tomorrow. Whoops, screen drops out. How do you know if you're ready for marriage? If I had an easy answer for that, I'd change the whole paradigm of relationships. I would say, you know, you're ready for marriage when you're ready to spend a life with somebody. But it's so amorphous to say that. For some people, it's like you have to go through 2 marriages first and then be ready for marriage on the 3rd one. Seriously. And some people never feel ready for it. So there's no real answer for that question specifically. But well, let me say this. There you go. Thank you, Tasha. Appreciate that. To be ready for marriage, first of all, you've got to be fully embracing and loving who you are, so you don't need someone else to make you feel full. You're getting some deep questions here, Christy. Grounds for divorce: if your partner abuses you, personally, get the hell out. That's one of my biggest issues with relationships. With don't stay in a loving space. The way I remember hearing from one of my teachers is, it shouldn't be till death do us part. It should be until the loving is gone. So if you're in an apathetic relationship, there's no point being there. If you hate your partner, there's still love, but it's buried under pain and hurt that you need to heal. But if you're feeling apathetic, there's no joy, there's no juice, there's no passion there, and your partner doesn't care either, there's no point being together. So there's different criteria for divorce. And it really comes down to what you two decide. Well, one of you has to decide sometimes. If your partner is cheating on you all the time and you are a well, abuse, it isn't a grey area. It's like basically if, let me say this, physical abuse obviously is not grey area, it's black and white. And those are horrible, and there's a whole bunch of laws that you can put in place for that. Emotional abuse, mental abuse, those are different. And psychic abuse, there's all different flavors of that. But if you're being in that situation of being abused, you know it. And there's different degrees, different extremes. And if it's violating your space and you don't feel comfortable, and you can't change it, keyword, you can't change it, well, there is that too. Well, abuse isn't confused as Stockholm Syndrome. What it is love is confused. Because what happens is people get used to a certain way of being treated. I think that means what their loving is. The Stockholm Syndrome really is people getting used to certain conditions. And in the abuse context, just talk about physical abuse for a second, I believe physical abuse is hereditary. Because it's a pattern passed down by generation as a way of expressing love. So a parent shows a child abuse as a way of showing love. And then that person goes out as an adult into a relationship and abuses their partner, thinking that's the way you should love. So the Stockholm Syndrome in that context, that's a pretty heavy word, but I think the underpinning of that is that the abuse is associated with loving in such a way that the person who's being abused thinks they're being loved. Your husband is a drill sergeant in the military. I had a thought. So did he serve? Christy, did your husband serve in the military, like serve in a war zone where he actually got PTSD, perhaps? That's a question I was curious about. Okay. First, Christy, here's some advice for you before we get to divorce. He's in the military, so he's very much in the macho, manly method, unlike masculine, which is different. No PTSD, okay. If he has any way of treating you other than loving respect, in his face you tell him you're not one of his soldiers. And you can be blunt as you want with that one. Because he may need shock value back to wake him up to the fact that you're his partner, his wife, his love, not one of his troops. Because if he's doing that to you, you definitely don't want that. Either you change the relationship or you change out of the relationship. Because there's not really other choices. I'm just going to put up with it, which I hope you don't. But it's about him choosing to shift. And being in the military, he's been beaten down most of the time in training. For basic training is a very punishing experience for people. Men and women do it. So when they come out, they're trained in a method of being that is dissociating from the emotional side to be able to function in the battle situation. So many of the people who are in the military don't know how to access their loving and compassion. Well, yes. And Christy, I understand it helps when you stand up to him, but it's exhausting because you also want to make sure you get what you want. If you don't stand up and you don't get what you want, why are you there? Yes, love yourself first. This is big issues to deal with, and I appreciate you sharing them here, and I definitely want to help you any way I can. But it comes down to, are you getting what you want? That's the thing. How much of the time is he amazing and how much of the time is he mad? And can his madness be put away? Can he put it down? Can you be clear enough with him to say, if you want me to stick around, you need to work with the madness, the craziness, the upset, in a way that works together in a relationship. I understand it's confusing because he's giving you basically push and pull going on. He's giving you anger and he's giving you love, and it's confusing it. It is a cycle. It's true. Thank you, Lisa, for that addition, and thank you for joining, by the way. So this is big stuff, right? And it's a ping pong match, because it's being loved enough to stay and then abused to push you away. And it's pushing you away and pulling you in, pushing you away, pulling you in, the same thing back and again, and it's not healthy, and it's not healing your heart. In fact, it's going to start ripping your heart apart over time. So, yeah. So I hope that helps you a little bit, Christy, with some thoughts. But I would say, if it has to happen again, you need to step up to him one time and say, look, one time only. Yeah. So if he loves you so much, then let him know that you know he loves you, and also let him know you want him to listen. So you need to have a conversation with him where he gets it from you, because he's not getting the conversation, he's turning it off. You need to be that clear with him in a loving space to tell him how much you appreciate him. He loves you as a queen, which you deserve, and tell him that's the only way he can play with you. If he does anything else, you're going to walk away. You can be that blunt with him. Whether you're going to do it or not is another story. But if you're that clear with him and he gets that, you might just wake him up. Just saying. So how was that for you? I said I think short of leaving, he doesn't think I'm seriously mean. Okay. Because he doesn't know that you follow through on your commitments to yourself. And that may be your next level, to step into that place where you take a break, or you say things to him saying, this is the way it is for me. Because he's used to that black and white. He's in the military. So it's always like, starch folds and direct orders, and it's yes, no, there's no in between, no waffle. It may not be abusive necessarily, except because he's not doing it as an abuse. Well, you know what, I'm not going to step into that one because that could be really true. What I still say is you've got to be clear with him and tell him how much you love him, but also you can't stay there if he's not going to treat you with that respect. You know? That's okay. Okay, so that was a piece of text going through there. So Christy, I saw some of that. So this is the thing. It sounds like more and more information you're giving me is making it more and more painful for you to be there and for your son to be there too. Your son tells you that? That'll be the reason you divorce? This is where it gets really messy. Because the parent is using the child as the leverage, and that's not healthy. If you have... Right, we do teach people how to treat us. And that's what comes from the history, as I mentioned. But Christy, in your case, working with your husband, if he is someone who can't get the love that he wants by loving you, he needs to get support. And if you need to take your son and make some space for that, don't mean divorce necessarily, but take some space for that, you need to do that for you. Loving yourself, supporting your child and loving himself, and loving your husband by taking care of yourself is healthy. But this is getting into a bigger picture and a big conversation that may be able to cover in, back and forward dialogue on a short Periscope talk, Absolutely, that's true, Lisa. And that's the thing I said, we visit our loving skills, hereditary speaking, onto our younger ones. It's messy, to say the least. So anything else on that one? Does anybody else have any questions, by the way? I mean, Christy's been hogging the stage, but she's doing a lot of good information, a lot of good dialogue, a lot of good stuff going on. So anybody else have any questions, thoughts about love and relationships? Please keep tapping the screen for hearts. I'm getting close to that 100,000 number somewhere. I'm not sure where it is right now. I appreciate all the hearts. And again, if you're getting value from this and you want to get more help, I do have a link on my profile, 2 links. The first link is for a discovery session to talk one-on-one, if you want to go beyond just this time here. And secondly, there's a donation button there, which is my tip jar. And if you feel like giving me some cash by PayPal, I don't mind that at all for my advice. I do it for my Perry tips, but I thought I'd throw it in here too. So there's 2 links on my profile. One is for discovery session, the other one is PayPal link, which is donate to Barry. So that's it. Any other questions, thoughts? This has been an interesting conversation so far, and I appreciate you taking the time to risk sharing with me, and I appreciate you trusting me with this, and thank you for everybody who's been on this scope too. So any other questions or thoughts or help? Well, that's the thing. Somebody else suggested this. That actually came from another friend of mine, and then Katya backed it up, who may be here, maybe not. maybe explain that second. There's another comment coming. The tip jar, it's fun. You know, if someone's throw $1 in there, or $50 or $1,000, I don't mind. I do want to get the new iPhone, so I'm welcoming bigger cash flow. So if you feel like donating that way towards that fund, I'm welcoming that. So yeah. And again, if you want to get some ongoing support, I do private coaching, and I also do have online programs. So this is really just a taster of my work, and also some opportunity. I'll get my book, yes, as I mentioned. Thank you for plugging it again. That's the book, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. It's on Amazon as a Kindle or physical book, and it's also on my website as a PDF, if you want to get it just for using it on your iPhone or iPad. So okay, so Christy, let me be clear. You're putting his values and his position above your own health and happiness. So if you speak to somebody who's in a confidentiality agreement, Amazon Kindle, yes, Kindle versions. This is a version for Kindle on Amazon. If you go to look for this on Amazon, you'll see the softcover and the Kindle version side by side. On my website, I have it as a PDF if you want to use it on your iPhone or your computer, etc. But I want to say to you, Christy, so you get this from me. If you're going to tell the world that it's going to ruin his career, that isn't something you necessarily want. But if there's no other choice to take care of yourself, that may be the price that he has to pay for what happened with you. So I'm not saying I'm endorsing any of this, so please don't take it that way. But if you're working with a therapist or an attorney, they should hold a confidentiality so that you don't have to out him to the world, so his career is not ruined. But again, if you're doing it just for him, then you're losing. I'm not saying it's right, losing, winning, but you're not taking care of yourself. So I want to be clear that you get that from me. That your self-love, your self-choice is a great thing. Well, some of the chapters you've already seen there are actually self-love practices. So just, and in fact, I did a whole bunch of scopes earlier in the week about that. So yes, but maybe it should be a second book. You got me thinking now. 50 Ways to Love Yourself. I'll think about that one. You got me thinking now. So, any other questions about love and romance relationships? I thought you would, Lisa. You seem to have that style of, it's fun to do that. That's true, you are, aren't you? Well, the good news is this is in my archive, so I know where it is. So just so you know, I have that one. Stop trying to change our single ladies service. I'm not trying to change you single ladies. I'm not. I'm trying to encourage you, inspire you. Just so you know, and I've been writing this out recently because I've been posting some groups I'm part of, and I've actually been invited to radio interviews, and they've asked me to speak about what I speak about. And I said, the first thing that came out of my fingers as I was typing was, I'm a champion for the divine feminine. My passion, my love, is seeing women own and empower and speak their divine truth from feminine. So that's my work. And then romance comes beyond that. So, yes, that's where I come from. And I work with men too, other people too. But, it's something that, hey, you thought of a feminine warrior? Well, that's the thing. Okay, let me drop this in your lap now, since we're talking about this part of it. I love this one. What, you're going to something for me? Let me start talking, and if you have another input, I'll wait for you to finish. That's the problem. Comments, they move slower than I can talk. The last 7-8 years of my journey have been about the masculine feminine, understanding it, living it, evoking it, teaching it, all that stuff with some major teachers. You have a crush on her husband? Seriously? You messing with me, Lisa? Let me say something on that. Okay. Let me speak to this feminine warrior piece. Angelina Jolie. Well, most people have a crush on her husband. Brad Pitt's quite a guy. But she's quite a woman too. But she has some values I don't match with personally. She has some values I do, but some that don't. Anyway, let me rewind a bit. I talked on one of my scopes a week or two ago that there is an evolution of relationship. Yes, she is. Most of it, yes. There's an evolution happening in the consciousness of masculine and feminine polarity, and I'm teaching this. And the refinement is, so I'm just going to take a little segment instead of the whole thing. But we're moving into the era of the masculine and the feminine. And it's the masculine is the warrior, the feminine is the goddess. Except, I think we're going one more further step, which is the feminine warrior. the goddess warrior, if you call it that, or as I call it, in some ways, using more of the older archetypes, it's the warrior king and the warrior queen. Power and grace side by side with lethal force, power to change the world, focus and direction for both partnerships. That's kind of what I'm leading to for my own work and my own partnership. I'm actually in the process of creating my vision of what I want in a relationship, and I'm looking for my warrior queen. So yes, warrior in the feminine works, because we've done the feminine goddess route, which is really the soft fuzzy thing, which is wonderful for a lot of women who didn't know it. Why is that now? Well, let me ask you how you mean that question, because I don't want to respond off track. She is, yes. Michelle Obama is one of those. She's someone who basically would be in a monarchy situation. She'd be a warrior queen next to her husband. So yes, definitely the case. For many women, they've been so boxed into the mindset of the men to work, succeed in business, entrepreneurial stuff like that, they don't have to turn it off and be feminine. So for many of them, going into the feminine, for them, meant softening to the goddess first. Because if they go into the warrior side first, they get into the male mindset, which is kill, 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 versus honor and respect. The feminine, when it moves through the goddess into the warrior, is the healthy path for the woman to own up into her strength. I just came through, I hadn't thought of that before. But it feels about right. So that's what I speak to, and that's a small chunk of a much bigger conversation that's in my book and in about 5 of my scopes over the last 3 weeks. So any other questions, thoughts whilst we're here? I have room for a few more. Thank you. Thanks for the hearts as well. I appreciate the hearts just bring up the screen. That's always wonderful to watch. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Thank you. Lisa, this was purely a spontaneous, this is actually the second one, I did one about an hour before. Spontaneous scope, because I didn't have a clue what to talk about today. So I thought, I'll just do open question, why not? Make it like Saturday session, just open Q&A for relationship, question, love. Thank you. By the way, just to let you know ahead of time, I've been encouraged by Cassia, one of my friends, who I think she dropped off now because it's already after midnight, almost midnight in England. I'm probably going to launch a hot seat live coaching session using Blab, because Periscope's one way. Thank you, Christy. I'd love to, but you know, that's not really the way I work. You can hire me, but I'm not going to adopt you. But I appreciate that. That's sweet. Now I'm starting to get older again. No, thank you. Okay. Is that how? Oh, you're talking to Christy? I mean, sorry, to Katya. She basically encouraged me to do this, and what I'm looking at doing, because the thing with Periscope is it's one way. You can see me and I can just see your comments, but that's the only way it works. With Blab, I can have up to 3 people at the same time with me on screen, so we can all see each other. And I may just do it one at a time. We'll see how it gets. But I'm looking at probably launching maybe next week, maybe the week after. We'll see. It'll be Blab-based hot seat love coaching for free. Obviously, I'll promote my work and stuff and offer my work through that, but it's an avenue to get people to see how I work. And this is kind of the lead into that. I hadn't really thought about it until today, because I was going, what should I talk about today? And last week I did 2 chapters from my book, but I don't do a chapter every day because I'd be through the book in 2 months, and I don't want to do that because I want you to buy my book and use it yourself. So today was going to be just, you know what, I don't have anything there, so I'm just going to do Q&A. I usually have conversations with people that inspire my posts, and stuff from today may give me inspiration for my scope tomorrow or Monday. I understand. No. Christy, thank you for being honest and open here. I much appreciate that. But I want to say that that's one reason I do offer my private coaching, because for some people, being out in public like that is definitely stretching beyond, how to say this, definitely stepping beyond the comfort zone and not workable. Because the other thing is, some of this stuff is very personal and very private and intimate, so I don't want to expose people who don't want to jump into the conversation. So the fact you did that here, I honor you and respect you, Christy, for saying that, because you didn't have to say any of that. You could have kept it private. And the good news about this is we don't know each other, and I don't know you except your Twitter handle or your Periscope handle, so this is confidential as far as we're concerned. And if you have friends watching this, which you don't have to share it with, that's up to you. So it's private, as best as possible. So thank you for sharing and risking and asking questions. I got a chance to help you, I hope, get some clarity and get some direction in this process. There you go, you've got a new friend. I like that. thank you. I guess I earned that one back, or took it off. You're welcome, Christy. Glad I could assist you. And again, my services are available and my coaching as well. That's very true. Yes. See, look at the support you're getting back, Christy. This is what you're getting back, is reminders that what you're doing is not just sharing for yourself, but sharing for others. That is awesome. It's so beautiful to do that. So thank you for being the bold person that you are, Christy. You did risk and you did share. So I'm glad I could help you, and I'm glad you shared because you inspired other people, other women, and me. So it's good. You may have heard of the accent of English. So Thanksgiving is fun with friends. I'm in LA, so you're gonna ship it. You're gonna make a pie and ship it. Let me think about that. I'm getting pies made for me. That is great. I love it. So, see, that's again all the love. Thank you, Christy, for sharing and stepping out of your comfort zone and being willing to ask questions. I'm glad I could help you. It was something that inspired this second. And again, you inspired the second round of this. The first round was totally off the charts and a surprise. And so I came back on again, and then you joined in because you started this. So, yeah, it was good. Any other questions? Any thoughts? Yes, they can walk on it, but this is not theory. This is stuff I've learned from practical experience with clients, my own studies, and events and places I've been at with other people where I've learned what people have experienced. So this is based on real life. These aren't theories. How they apply to you is up to you because it's all personalized and private, as I said before. But this stuff is real, and this is your life. Okay, let me say it to you one way again, Christy. You're only seen as strong? Absolutely. They don't make you weak, they make you vulnerable. And vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. By being willing to ask questions and get help, that shows strength because you've got willingness to trust, to be vulnerable, and to be open. Those are strengths, not weaknesses. So I'm sure you get that from me. So never look at your need for help as a weakness, because many people who think they're strong are hurting and suffering so bad inside because they're not getting help. So the strongest move is to get help and act wisely, which you did. So that's awesome. So you get thumbs up from me. And I've got lots of hearts from you, so I appreciate the fact you shared here. And again, it's not weakness. You're doing it right. Any other question? You need to be so strong to get help and open up yourself. That's the thing. Vulnerability is strength. I went through that my own journey as a man, even harder to let down the walls and let emotions out. Thankfully, I had some safe place to do that and really transform my life. I come from England. In England, it's all stiff upper lip and reserved. We don't speak. Men don't usually speak their emotions very much. I'm certainly back in my generation. Oh God, I'm dating myself now. Most of the 20-year-olds are out there now. But that was something we weren't raised with. You know, men were stiff upper lip and strong and forceful. We didn't share emotions or anything else. You know. So I've been in America too long, I guess. I was softened. Anything else? Any other questions? And thanks for the hearts again. I appreciate it. I haven't checked on. I'll check afterwards how close I am to that 100,000 mark. And I'm getting closer and closer. I was about 2,500 away, I think. Oh, absolutely, my pleasure. I'm glad I could support it. Thank you for being a big endorser for my book, since you love it so much. Thanks for being part of, and thanks for participating in my scopes. I love having people who are regulars joining in, because it feels like I'm building community and a tribe. So I am much in appreciation of that. I'm the God Warrior, though. Oh, because the Goddess Warrior was the God Warrior. That's why I talk about the Warrior King, Warrior Queen. It sounds much more human, in a good way. So yeah, no, God Warrior. Because God, that's the thing about God. We're all God, in my philosophy. There's God there and you're somewhere else. We're all part of that. So the God Warrior is like that's not gender based, because if we're all God and we're all warriors, that's the same thing. But Warrior King, Warrior Queen has gender to it, which is kind of fun. Oh, Christy, it's been a pleasure to serve you, and I'm grateful to have you be here. And as you saw from the other ladies and the other people on this scope, you got a lot of feedback that what you did was worthwhile, and you got some ideas and thoughts to sit with. So please take care of yourself, and please support yourself in the days ahead. Hopefully this will start up some new things. There you go. Oh, Yvonne. Hi, nice to have you here. I missed your scope. For some reason, didn't notify me when you went live. So, yeah, auntie, right. You're getting a community here. I love that, Christy. Thank you. Hi there. So we've been going for a while now. This has been a good conversation about love and romance and relationships. It's all Q&A, flat, open table, throw forum, open, throw any questions. I'll be here. So, and thanks for all the hearts. Keep them going, keep them going. And if you do hit 500, you can always drop out and come back in again right away, where you miss maybe 5 words, and you keep giving hearts again. Oh, it was a funny story. Yesterday I was on a scope, just talking about period tips. It was going to be 5 minutes. Ended up going an hour, because one of the girls kept asking questions, and we went off track. And she literally dropped out and came back in again, I think 7 or 8 times to give me almost 4,000 hearts. That was insane. I didn't mind, it was fun. And she was a great character in the interview, in the conversation too. So how do you rebuild trust? Trust is in here. So it's got to be built there first. And to answer your question directly, trust is something the other person earns, and you get to know them by what their actions are. But it always starts with trusting yourself first. Because someone else's trust, it violates our own trust. Actually, someone else's breaking trust is violating our own trust, because we feel betrayed. But the betrayal starts in here, because the judgments we place against ourselves are not being trustworthy enough to honor ourselves. It sounds a bit convoluted, but that's where it starts inside. It's the core that it starts from is us. Self-love, self-support, self-trust, self-approval, self-confidence. It all starts within. And I talked about this in one of my scopes this past week about being alone and being lonely, as I mentioned earlier. Part of that is to build that self-trust muscle, so that when you're with somebody, you don't allow that. It doesn't knock you sideways. Because people do what they do. Do I believe in narcissism? I don't believe in it. It's a psychological profile. Narcissism is a behavior, and it's got a range of possibilities. There's almost 2 in Israel. Thank you for staying on that long. I love it. Oh, you're welcome. Definitely a pleasure. I'm glad you were here. So, Yvonne, about narcissism. I'm not going to do a whole diatribe on it here because it's not my skill set. I'm not a therapist. But I've studied this to a degree. Narcissism is a behavioral trait. And it's not just doing selfies, but a narcissistic personality trait, style, disorder even, is real, yes. A narcissist is not somebody who just looks in the mirror and preens themselves. A narcissist is a vampire of energy. They don't feel fulfilled unless they're sucking you dry energetically. And so they will court you, entertain you. This works both genders. A friend of mine, as a guy, was basically suckered in by a narcissistic girlfriend, and she destroyed his heart. So it works both sides. You get used up, you get hurt and thrown out. And what happens is you get pulled back in again because you feel like you are being loved, and it's so mistaken. But a narcissist is someone who basically doesn't feel, it's like they don't ever feel full. So they're always looking outside to fill themselves up, and they find the most ideal person is someone who's the most brightest light, most successful person to feed on, because it's the highest quality food, if you want to put it that way. Highest quality energy. Yes, and I'll get to this in a moment. So it's not just detaching, it's more than that. So what happens is you will be told everything you wanted to hear, shown everything you wanted to be seen, and feel everything you wanted to feel, so that you'll say yes to that. That's how they work. So it's the best sales job on the planet until you're theirs. And then they slowly but surely knock you down until you feel destroyed. Because they're sucking off the energy. That's how it works. There's a movie based on this that was about a narcissist, and it was it's a black and white movie going way back, and I'll come to you in a minute. There's actually a term in the DSM-4, which is the psychological book, that it's termed this. Actually, you can go Wikipedia and search for it. It's based on a movie title, and I think it was something like it's something to do with light, Nightlight, something like that. I forget what the movie's called. It's a very old, or Lamplight. It's a very old movie. I want to say from the 40s. It's a great movie about the narcissistic style. So yes, it's out there. So back to your question, obviously statement, Yvonne, about detaching. Yes, and for narcissists, they're so good at hooking you in, you can't detach easily. So the only way, for many times, is once you're used up, whether you can fake it or not, I don't know, is when they walk away and leave you alone, that's the time to get the hell out of there and get help. Because most of us don't have the skills to rebuild ourselves automatically. And if we stay where we are, we get trapped. So getting detached requires physical removal of the space, so you can be separate and take care of yourself. And then it requires support to build not the shell so much, as building the muscles, emotional muscles, heart muscle, consciousness muscles, so that you value yourself enough that if anybody else shows up like that, you become very sensitive to who they are, so they never do that again. And that's not easy. That's not like a 2-minute journey, but it's a big piece of the work. So yeah, narcissistic is real, and it's not pretty, not fun. Sorry, I got into down chart, but that's the way it is. Part of it's cultural. I've in some much studied, and some therapists I talked to have told me about this. A lot of narcissists were raised in environments where that was done to them, so they learned, again, hereditary patterns. Learned from their parents that was the way it was to be. So they do the same thing themselves to love and get the results. Very messed up. Very messed up. So, okay. Anything else? Well, does that answer your question, by the way? I think it did from what you just responded, so, okay. And you've got your caps lock on again, haven't you, Yvonne? Everything's in capitals. So any other thoughts and questions? It's been going for almost an hour. Wow, going for almost an hour now. This has been quite a valuable chat, conversation. And by the way, if you haven't already invited your followers and fans on Facebook, on Twitter and followers, please do so, because people may have questions they want to jump in right now and become the next set of questions that comes in. We'll see. Anything else? Explain the parental relationship again with narcissism. Okay. I want to talk about this as a general theme versus narcissistic right now. My understanding, my belief is, and what I've learned as well, is that, and I talk about this in my book and in my work, we are raised by our parents, and normally, like it's a statement, not a question, as we're raised by the adults around us. It may not be our parents, maybe grandparents, uncles, foster care, whatever that is. We look to them as our teachers without knowing it, unconsciously. From age 0 to about 9 or 10 years old, our unconscious part of our consciousness is the biggest part of our mind, and it's sucking all the information in from outside about how to live life, because we're students, we're hungry, we want to know how to love, how to connect, how to speak, how to spend, how to all these things. So we are educated subconsciously by what our parents do, what our parents say, and everything else. Mostly what they do, because actions speak louder than words. So if our parents are a narcissistic style or abusive style, we will tend to take that on as a modality, because we receive it as abuse tied to love, or narcissism tied to love. We think that's the way you have to be. So we get raised with that pattern. So we go out in the world to express our love. We use the same technology because we're raised with that. And what happens is, our conscious mind be thinking one thing, but subconscious is something else entirely. And again, our subconscious mind is active our subconscious mind is unfettered, no filter, no guardian, no gatekeeper, from age 0 to about 8, 9, or 10, give or take. And then the conscious mind comes in and becomes the awareness. Meanwhile, and this is the thing, our conscious mind, like an iceberg, is the tip above the water. The subconscious mind is everything below the surface. And in an iceberg, roughly 5 or 6% of the iceberg is visible above the water, 95% below the water. Same with our consciousness. Conscious mind is about 5% of our energy. Our conscious focused energy in the consciousness is 5% conscious mind, 95% subconscious, give or take. That means that even though you're consciously saying, I want this, 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 and this, your subconscious mind is going, I want that, 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 and that. You'll keep attracting that until you make peace with it. And that's the biggest part of my work. So helping my clients make peace with the history, because that's where all the subconscious stuff is stored, is the history, in the memories about what things were meant to be, and it overrides their conscious choices. So you can say, I want to go online and find somebody in Match.com or Tinder, have no information about them, but guarantee the one you're attracted to will reciprocate the patterns you grew up with. It's almost guaranteed. So if you have to deal with the narcissistic stuff in history, or abuse or anything else, it's going to keep repeating itself pretty often until you finally heal the pattern once and for all, and then you'll attract something different. It's big work, but if you want to heal that, it's the only way to do it, is to do the work. So, wow, that was a big one piece. Any other questions, thoughts, additives you want to say? This is getting deep. You're very welcome. Hopefully it helps you. And by the way, Becky, is that if you're going to participate on Periscope, one of the tips I recommend is getting a profile picture on there, not just an egg, because people tend to not follow eggs, just so you know. You want to talk more? Sure. Well, Miss Boss Babe, Yvonne, if you want to talk more here, we can do that. But if you have private questions, we'll send me or talk to me. Go on my profile. Again, there's two links there. One is, yeah, no, Yeah, private. Okay, so go on there. There's 2 links on my profile. One link is to a consult discovery session. Click on that. It's going to be sent to my website to get a discovery session. Second button is my tip jar. I am taking donations. Thank you very much. So you can come see me. You can send money that way. If you want to just throw some in the tip jar as gratitude for what you've learned, I appreciate that as well. But that basically, if you want to talk, we can definitely have a conversation offline by phone or Skype. All right? So not on Periscope. So Yvonne, I will support you. Okay? So, just thinking of questions. Sorry, my screen is going dark, and I keep the light on because it's 4 o'clock here, but it's starting to get, well, the sun's on the other side of the building, so it's getting a little darker on the side of the house. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? I appreciate all the hearts trickling up the screen. I love that too. Absolutely, you're welcome. And thanks for joining in. I'm sorry I missed your scope. We were supposed to do a tag team, you and me, for the second round of the Perry 10K Share-a-thon, but I didn't catch you and I was in the middle of another scope, so didn't get it. Thank you. I'm glad you were here. Thanks for all the hearts. It's 4:02 now here, so I'm pretty much ready to wrap up unless you have any other questions or thoughts you want to share, or you want to do lots of hearts. Yeah, it's all good. Frankly, I was in the first round anyway, so I did my 10 minutes worth then, so I would have to repeat myself the second time anyway. So you can watch that. So any other questions, thoughts before I sign off? Definitely see you next time. I'm glad you follow me. I'm glad you're getting value from my coaching and support. Again, my online program would help you if that's something you really want to step into now versus later. Just a suggestion. Any other thoughts? Okay. See you, Yvonne. Yes. Any more folks? I'm not sure who's still here. Let me look. So, Yvonne and Becky online, and a few other people online. All right. So I'm actually going to wrap up. Unless there's anybody's got desperate, needy questions, want to go right now, I'm going to log off and go do some other things. Glad I could help. See you later. I think that's it. Thanks for being part of this. It was a longer scope, not what I planned, but I'm glad you got to really move things. Shelley, you just joined us. I'm just about to sign off. I've been doing this for an hour now, which has been great. It's been an open dialogue Q&A about love and relationships. So if you want to jump in and ask questions, I'll stay on. But otherwise, it's been fun. It's been a really rich conversation. Definitely watch the replay. There's some very powerful principles and healing and sharing that happened over the last hour. And I'm still on now because people are still joining. So if you want to ask questions, Shelley, feel free. It's been going for a while. This has been kind of a free-form Saturday. Oh, nice. Yeah, I missed you. You left LA, I guess, and went back, and I didn't see you before you left, so we will catch up another time. Well, I'm glad you want to say hi. Thanks for being here. I've got to check if I went over 100,000 hearts yet. I came close. I know I'm probably the 99,000 round. So, yeah. Okay. So I think we're done for this session. I may do this more often. Maybe I'll do this once or twice a week. Seems to be a lot of value in giving direct question answers for relationship romance help versus just teaching people stuff. So this has been fun. Okay, that's, I think, wrapping up. So I don't see no comments, no more hearts, people dropping off. So I'm going to head out now unless somebody jumps through right last minute. Thank you for watching. Thanks for participation. And thanks for following me. Again, you can get consults with me directly, one-on-one consults to see where you are and what you want. And also you can definitely deposit money in the tip jar through the PayPal link, which is legit. Donate to me. All right. Thanks very much. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful Saturday and weekend. I will see you probably on Scope tomorrow. Bye.